Hello there, I'm here today to do a rather one-sided review of Pokémon Sword and Shield, only caring to talk about the positives this game had to offer to me. Maybe it seems a little late seeing that the game came out over a year ago, and even a little egotistical and blinkered to only focus on what I like. And to that I say it's my fucking birthday month. December's a celebration of me and what I care about. And in that vein of thinking, I originally planned in October to make a video talking about what I want from future mainline Pokemon games, but as I was preparing and writing more for it, I came off as putting negative energy into the YouTube ethos, and I don't want to do that. I want to be a positive guy. And of course, obviously, what I want, what I say what I want future Pokemon games, and over the course of one video will be ineffectual to whatever Game Freak and the Pokemon Company decides to do with our precious Pokemon games. As the bad vibes of October washed away, I once again realized there's no point in being negative about things you can't control. Pretty sure Buddha said that, something like that. The chill vibes of late autumn have set in once again, and today, as this is being uploaded, December 7th, is my birthday. And what better way to celebrate it on my channel than talking positively about Pokemon, my favorite series. So without further ado, here's what Pokemon Sword and Shield did right for me. Now, this being the first Pokemon game I play on the Switch, I did not play Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. This has been my first Switch experience with Pokemon, and with that, jumping from the 3DS to this, I expect a lot from this game. And maybe I didn't get everything that I wanted, but in terms of the landscapes, they look pretty damn good. Not all of them were beautiful, but here's some that really caught my eye. It was Route 4. Galar Mine number 2 looked very nice. The Route 6 and still on side, I really like that desert, kind of like southwest American aesthetic. I think that's might have been what they're going for. It also kind of looked like a Central Asian desert, like Kazakhstan, around their type of area. But also the Glenwood Tangle was quite nice. It's nice, unique. It was very short, but I like the way the aesthetic of it all. Sir Chester was very aesthetically pleasing. Cold Town and all of the Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra, it all looked very beautiful and cohesive. And that's kind of like I don't put the wild area as part of the beautiful landscapes, because to me it's kind of it's not cohesive. It's kind of this empty feeling, even though there's Pokemon walking around. It's not as dense as like kind of the marshy areas and the forested areas of the Isle of Armor, and even the Crown Tundra. It's a tundra. It makes sense for it not to be necessarily super dense, even though there are parts of it, like in the caves, or as you saw in my Crown Tundra video, there's plenty of parts where there's like a dense amount of Pokemon around, and it's very lively as well, and beautiful graphically. To me, I really think they didn't completely knock it out the park, but they did pretty much provide me with adequate landscapes and somewhat dense ones throughout the game. And on that same tip with the wild area, I didn't love it completely, but there were some things about it that I did like. First off, which is this guys walking around. It's cute. It's cute little guys. I just love my guys. And you got the big guys walking around too. You get scared of those. Oh no, the big guys, are they gonna eat me? No, it's gonna battle you. But I think everyone always kind of wanted something like this, even though they might have not said it. I think it's finally cool that I think they had that in Pokemon Let's Go and Let's Go Eevee. But again, I did not play those, but it's cool to see the Pokemon walking around. And it's also cool to have recurring items on the ground that's, you do need to some extent. It does help. It's a nice little touch. And, most importantly, it's big. That's what I want. I want big. When I think of a game, how to make a sequel and keep making games for a series, like the first question is, how do we make it bigger? And, they made it bigger. So in the next game, I hope to make it slightly bigger, but also a lot more dense, because that's my main thing with the wild area. One thing I was worried about was how they were going to implement DLC content to this game. And you know, after all the worry word stuff went away and I actually got down to buying it, playing it, recording for this channel, I gotta say, you know, all in all, DLC was still at a fair price. I said in a previous video, if you want to like get more of my opinions on this game, like a different sort of review, I talk about other stuff, also more of the negative, go check out the finale of my Pokemon Sword and Shield playthrough. Hey, how about you check out the whole playthrough? The playlist will be in the description. I talked about this, it's a fair price, but it's on like the higher side of fair. Like it was $35, I'm like, eh. But $30 seemed fair. Maybe I would have sold it for $24 for both. I don't know. Not each, but to get both, to get for $24 might have been a little more fair. I don't know. But it certainly provided us with an interesting model going forward, because they did give us a good chunk of content, more in Crown Tundra than the Isle of Armor. But still, there was still, for $30 you did get a lot. And I know a lot of people would probably say, I don't know, I'm not really in touch with the Pokemon community like I used to be, but I imagine a lot of people would say that there's some stuff in the DLC that should have been in the base game. And to that, I probably agree. Because the game in multiple ways does seem rushed, but again, keeping it positive. But I'd rather have, in terms of what Crown Tundra particularly brought, I felt that, oh, they bring about all these fucking legendaries. Not all of them, but they bring about a lot of legendaries. Like 40 of them, right? And 30 something, 40 something. They didn't bring back all of them though. They didn't bring back like Mew or something like that, or Celebi. Or even, I don't think they even brought back Jirachi. There are some, there's a good chunk they didn't bring back. But going forward though, I think I'd rather have DLC exclusive Pokemon and have them behind the DLC paywall than have event exclusive Pokemon like back in the day. And I guess we still have event Pokemon, but I think you could, like most of the event Pokemon they give out, you could get pretty easily in the game. If I might be wrong about that, but I probably am, because I don't really care about completing Pokedex and Pokemon Sword and Shield, because again, they didn't really prioritize that in the game. I don't think the way they didn't have all the Pokemon in the Pokedex is telling me, oh, we don't care about if you complete the Pokedex or not. But again, let's not focus on the negative, only the positive. The DLC, the Isle of Armor, Crown Tundra, all in all, were great additions in the game, in my opinion. And they did not just add, the stuff in the particular biomes. They also add additional content to the game, one of those being the Galarian Star Tournament. I like the Champion Cup instead of having an Elite Four. It feels more dramatic to me and more of a competition rather than a gauntlet challenge. I know playoffs, like in various sports playoffs, kind of is a gauntlet, but you're facing, like, you have a break in between. I don't know. With the Elite Four challenge, it doesn't feel like I'm competing, because I'm not competing against other trainers to be the champion. The Elite Four is just like the stagnant pool of people who will always be in my way to being a champion. And with the tournaments, I feel like you could really play off that a lot. And also, you could have multiple different types of champions. You have a singles, a doubles, a multi-champion, inverse, like basically a championship tournament for every type of battle. I think going forward that'd be cool. Now I'm getting into the going forward. I should rewind myself back to what was actually there. The Champion Cup tournament was cool. It had like the first round. There was like 2 tournaments. I remember being confused at this because they didn't really explain it going in. There was like 2 rounds of there were like 2 tournaments. The first round had like your peers in it, like Marnie and Hop, and then Bede, I believe, or Bidet, I like to call them. And then had a second tournament where you fought all the gym leaders, and then at the end you fought Leon. I thought it was cool. I thought it was well executed. But going forward, I really think there should be a lot more tournaments. But also, I feel like, I didn't lose in any of the tournaments, but I feel like they need to, like, if you did lose, they need to implement some sort of time function so you have to wait for the next tournament season or something like that. Because another thing with the Elite Four, it makes sense, like, after you lose, you can go challenge it again immediately, because that's part of, like, it makes sense for a gauntlet challenge to be like that. You're most likely going to lose in theory, for you to like not be able to heal between battles besides items, and you gotta fight 5 people in a row. It seems like, yeah, you're gonna have to try again, so there's no point. Just get up and go climb the mountain again. With a tournament, you know, you gotta go through that again. You gotta prove yourself again, and it'd be interesting to have like some sort of seeding, maybe buys, I don't know, just basically make like some combination of the NFL playoffs, NFL NBA playoffs. I don't know, that could be interesting. But the Galarian Stars tournament, I did not get to show that off in my playthrough, but it was like a multi-battle tournament. I mean, y'all probably played it and enjoyed it. I just thought that was really cool. Different whole, like basically every major character from the game and then some are in the tournament, and I thought that was great. I thought the Galarian Star tournament was great, and the battles were not easy from what I seen. So I think Pokemon need to do more tournaments. I remember the first tournament where I got the idea of like really wanting tournaments in Pokemon games was the Battle Tent. It was Battle Dome, because the guy Tucker would do like a Dome Master Tucker or something, Master of Getting Dome Tucker, and he to challenge him, you had to beat like 7 tournaments in Pokemon Emerald, and he'd be at the end of the 7th tournament. And I thought this tournament is like pretty cool. I enjoy advancing in the tournament for some reason. I don't know. I got tournament autism. I got map autism. I still don't get the train thing, but anyways. In a particular structure of this game, or the particular aspect of the structure of this game, we're not gonna talk about all like the long other stuff, the story and character quite yet, but the lack of recurring villains and just having a straightforward, clear goal. I'm trying to be the champion. You know, there's not going to be a Team Rocket or Galactic or so on and so forth that I have to deal with on the side. It's just going straight forward and plowing through the region as quickly as possible to become a champion. And I like that. I do not have like dealing with the villains, and you know, honestly, it doesn't really make a whole ton of sense. Why does this, 10, 12-year-old kid have to deal with these crime organizations? Where's the army of Officer Jennies to handle it? And the way the villain, quote unquote villain, was implemented into this game was it made sense in a way, and it was sudden, and it didn't. The only thing bad about it just kind of felt like I was getting ready to, I know the point of it was to interrupt your little champion run, but between like trying to find the bad Macrocosmos people and then having to fight Eternatus and Chairman Rose right before the champion fight, it really felt they really unnecessarily crammed it in, and I feel like maybe the Chairman Rose storyline should have been extended into the after game, I feel, but it was still good nonetheless. And I think the lack of those villainous characters and having to fight like a bunch of their grunts, it made the game shorter, definitely. I mean, that combined with a couple other things ended up beating the game like in 20 hours, where if I go back and play Pokemon Red, if I want to battle every trainer there, it'll probably take me 25 hours. So that's a combination of, the other Pokemon games having more trainers, but also having like a crap ton of grunts, of evil grunts to fight. We didn't have that here. So I do like the straightforwardness of it, but they did not make up for it in other areas of the game, I believe, unless you're really supposed to be grinding on Dynamax raids. But if you spent like hours on Dynamax raids during the main game, you'd have been way over leveled, and I barely dealt with the raids and I was still over leveled for the champion fight. But hey, that's fine. Story for another time. Speaking of story, every once in a while, maybe like every once half decade, I have a game that has like a somewhat deep emotional impact on me. And, I get connected to it and connect to the characters. Really, maybe you'll have that more. I don't really have a lot of games I'm really into the story with, but the few that are, like Mother 3, basically like the Mother games and like Pokemon Black and White 2 are the only games that come to mind when this happens, where I get attached to the characters in it, and I feel sad when the story ends and when my time with the game ends, or when a character dies. Now obviously in Pokemon games, characters don't really die, but I did have a connection to the characters around me: Hop, Sonya, Marnie, to some degree with Bidet, or Bede as people like to say. And when I was getting to the end of the game, wrapping up my playthrough, I really felt like, damn, it's over. I'm really gonna miss my friends. I don't want to leave Galar. But let's talk about why that is. You know, I could talk about like the feeling, but how did they arise that connection from me? And it's because instead of like investing heavy or like hinting at a backstory, which Pokemon usually does, especially like older Pokemon games, it's like, yeah, Giovanni has his backstory, but when you deal with Giovanni, he's always like the same evil guy. Cyrus has a backstory, but he has a very interesting backstory as well. But when you see him, he's just the same guy. There's not progression. There's not that much progression. There's some in the older games of all these different characters. But Barry is always impatient. And I know I'm using very disparate examples, but on the whole, there's usually, if a character has any investment into its story, it's usually its backstory. They usually don't progress in such a way in front of you, and it's very obvious that the people that your rivals and friends, they obviously progress, even it might be just one big progression. Like Sonya is trying to find out the history of Galar, and then she's like trying to help her grandmother, and then she eventually gets her grandmother's lab coat, and like, oh my god, that's a big reveal, and she finally was able to like write a book or whatever about the history of Galar. Hop, obviously your rival, he goes to like multiple stages of like disillusionment with the challenge, to the point that he just completely just sheds it. Like, I'm just gonna be a researcher now. And at multiple points, they make a point in showing you that not only is he's losing to you, the main character. Obviously, he has to lose to me. I'm the main guy. I gotta be a champion. But he also they emphasize how he got beat by Sword or Shield, depending on your game, like twice in the after game. Like really, really bringing it home that he is not, that his time in pursuing being a champion is coming to an end. He just doesn't have it, and he's losing confidence. He has a crisis of confidence, and I like that stuff. And Marnie, she like warms up to having attention on her, and I don't know. And Bidet just stops becoming a total prick. Is his progression. And then maybe there's some other examples that maybe you resonated with, but I think they really did a good job in creating a harem of characters that I could really vibe with and understand. And I'm attached to it. And I think this in the same way that Pokemon Black and White had a sequel. It was like a direct sequel, not a remake, but a sequel. I think Pokemon Sword and Shield should also have a sequel. If it may not be the next game, maybe the next game is a Gen 4 remake, and then maybe the game after that could even be a new region completely. But I think somewhere down the line, I think Sword and Shield is due for some sort of sequel where everybody's a little older, and I don't know. There's something there. There's something here with the story, the environment, but also this might be the best soundtrack of any Pokemon game ever. From the peaceful and emotionally stirring composition of Wedgehurst to battle themes like Marnie's that isn't just a pleasure to listen to, but also plays to the character perfectly. And also the high energy of the Battle Tower battle theme, featuring judicious use of brass and very high tempo composition by one Toby Fox. This whole game is just filled with just great, like, emotional or resonant music. And, you know, speaking of judicious, the use of leitmotif that a lot of people like them to point out, when you use leitmotif in a course of a game, it can really bring out some really emotional moments. Like the same sort of like the same motif in Wedgehurst is like the same that's like in the Antagonistic battle and the champion battle, and that does something psychological. I don't know what it does, but it's like it has a sense of completeness, I guess, which I gotta say that I don't really feel that a whole bunch. I felt that over the course of games before I move forward, but I do want to reference this thing. In Gen 5, the Elite Four, you go listen to the Elite Four theme, and then go listen to the Gen 3 Elite Four theme. And then maybe there's another thing that they reference. But Gen 5 had like a lot of slight references to older compositions, not within the game though. They're referencing compositions in previous games, and this is the one where Sword and Shield, it feels so onto itself. It has the onto itself kind of region and story of how Unova did, the Black and White one did, but also it felt complete into itself. Black and White one did not feel, it felt kind of naked, how they didn't have, I don't know, it really, maybe I have to go back and play it, but it felt like it was really lacking in identity and in personality. There was, you know, it was there, it fits in spurts, but maybe not as consistently as we would have liked, or there enough to justify the fact that they didn't have all the old Pokemon. Goddamn, what a mistake. But Black and White 2 definitely fixed that. But all in all, the music in this game is not only great individually, great songs to listen to add to your playlist, but also comes together as a cohesive project of very good video game storytelling. So, I'm going to end this video with just listening to the good music. So you can leave now, or you can hang out. absolutely fantastic.